Well then, I thank you very much for inviting me. For traders around the world that have been sitting here for all these hours, why are you not at a Super Bowl pre-party right now? Why are you here? I don't get it. But being that you are here, I promise I'm going to give you some really interesting tips and tricks that you can use moving forward. I will illustrate, if I can, in the next 45 minutes, the power of technical analysis and how Wall Street loves to use market geometry. I mean, it's right there before our eyes. I started on Wall Street as an 18-year-old kid. I helped the exchanges put charting, which was point and figure, held by hand. I helped them get them on computers and worked with the exchanges until we were able to get trading onto the internet. And they sent us home and closed the exchanges. I was there for the whole gamut. I am Wall Street. And I've learned some fantastic tricks, tips, and techniques that basically Wall Street wouldn't want you to know about. They're simple, and they will help you make money moving forward. So I promise, as a consolation for you sitting here all these hours, I will not offer anything to sell you at all. In fact, I wouldn't dare sell my Omni. I've got something called Oscar's Market Navigational Indicator. It has been working since the, mid-'80s when I developed it. I wouldn't dream of boxing it up or putting it on disk or putting it on Zoom. If you build a program that works, you don't mass produce it. So I will show you some great stuff here. What I will promise you is that this is my technical analysis 101. I am laying on a cot pre-kindergarten, drinking warm milk and eating cookies with what I'm going to show you. But I promise with that alone, it will be effective, and there will be tricks that you can absolutely use moving forward. So you probably want to grab a pen and a paper and write down some of what you may see. It will be effective, but I promise to keep this simple. So what is technical analysis? Technical analysis is the cornerstone to knowing where any market is going to go. There are algorithms out there. There's everything you can think of from Wall Street, but that's nothing more than following price action, which you can do with a good pair of eyes. So let me show you what I mean by that. Each year, now I've been doing this for a lot longer, but for 16 straight years, I've been putting out what I call the OMNI's year-end call in January. Come up with the year-end call. In fact, January 24th year-end call is right here, but I'm not showing it to you. And I tell people in January where the market will go by December. Now, I have done this for 16 years. There's 2 years out of 16, the Omni has not nailed it perfectly just using the technical analysis. 1 year, the market went up, came down, and settled at the same spot it opened for the year. Nobody could make that call, right? It was a nothing year. The only other year Omni didn't nail it perfectly, it got within 300 points of it, and then the year ended. So I am going to show you something, the power of technical analysis, and the fact that you don't need a trading system, you don't need a program, you don't need anything but a good pair of eyes, and understand a few of the tricks that Wall Street is using to come up with trades. So a chart is a visual look at all government reports, any report, fourth quarter, first quarter, third quarter, anything that's going to be reported from companies, traders' reaction to such, it's all built into a chart, and the chart is pure and honest. The chart can do something that a human can't. The chart can take a fire hose of information like we get coming at us right now at every moment, fire hose of information blasted at you. You're supposed to take it all in, disseminate it, and say, that means the market's going to 50.22, which is impossible, right? It's not possible for a human to do. But the chart takes in all that information and shows you what's coming next. It doesn't have alimony, child support. It doesn't have a reputation. It doesn't have bills. It's pure. Let me show you what that means. The beginning of 2023. Does anybody remember what the world looked like in the beginning of 2023? Well, I should say the end of 23, beginning of 2024. The beginning, so let me change this because we're going to go backwards for a moment and then we'll go forward. This is the beginning of 2023. Now, in 2023, if anyone recalls what was going on, we had rising interest rates like crazy, runaway inflation, everyone was losing their minds, and most fund managers took their money, took it out of the stock market and slammed it into bonds at 5 to 5.5%. And that's what was going on in the beginning of the year 2023. It was a total panic out there. And I come up with my year-end call expecting it to be the downside, and here's what happens. The market's trading at 3,800 and the call tells me we're going over 5,000. Now, I'm going to sound crazy if I say that to people. We're in the middle of a crash, but that's the OMNI call. So I put the call out, and I started to receive phone calls from fund manager friends of mine and others who said, Oscar, you're going to be absolutely wrong this year. You're going to embarrass yourself. We're billionaire fund managers. We've got the information that you don't. You're going to be wrong this year. And I said to them, the only information you could possibly have comes off the chart. Everything else is in your head that you've concocted. I will prove to you I'm going to be right. And I put out the target when we were 3,800 that the S&P would go over 5,000 for the year. Well, guess what, kids? Look where we are. The S&P made it to 5,030, 29 days past December. Kill me, I know I'm the worst at this, right? 29 days late. No one can do this because they use fundamentals. Technicals will tell you where the market's going to go every year. Honest to God, everyone watched me tell them where the market was going to go in 2023 to 24, and they laughed at me. Well, who's laughing now? Kiss my OMNI, people. Let me show you what this is all about. So the E-mini S&P did exactly what the OMNI said it would do, and I've got no magic. I do. You know what? I do actually have a crystal ball. But, you know, I don't use it when it comes to trading. I just kind of leave it on the side here. So before we get started, I'll remind you, this is a very risky game. Risky, risky, risky. I don't care if you trade options, futures, crypto. I don't care what it is you trade. You need to put protective stops in first before you ever get into a position. The traders in 43 years I've been watching that do not use stops, that use a mental stop, and they'll get out and they get in trouble. Here's what I tell them. This is for you. This is a tombstone for your trading account. Just put the number of your trading account right here, and this will help you because that's where you'll end up. Put your stops in first. Let's get moving. So what's going on out there? Okay, so you see analysis can call these tremendous year-end calls, right? But we want to know what's going to happen tomorrow. And what I do for these webinars, I don't have a PowerPoint. I don't have anything predetermined. I wait for Friday's close. I go through a whole bunch of charts and figure out what it is I would use next week, and then I present it to you. And that's what I'm going to do right now. So we saw the S&P year-end call was magical, like it has been for 16 straight years, based on technical analysis only. So what else is out there? Well, let's take a little ride. If you'll humor me and watch what's going to happen, I promise I'll show you some cool stuff. Here's the dollar index. Wall Street, you have to know what they're using. And once you see what they're using, you run with the ball. I do not care why they use it, and I do not care how to reinvent it. So in other words, they're using 103 bar moving average on the dollar index. Why? I don't care why. That's their use. I'm going for it. I'm not going to try to reinvent the wheel. The idea is to find out what wheel Wall Street's using, slam it on your car, and go. So watch this. First of all, if you're looking at the US dollar, and I just showed you the stock market going up, you might think something like this. If the dollar is going up, why would the stock market go up? Because we've had a nice fat rally in the dollar from 100 to 108, well, 103, I should say. Big rally, right? So why would the stocks go up if dollars are going up? Well, first quick lesson, it's simple, is A, use the 103 bar moving average to time your dollars. When you are above it, the dollar rallies right here. When you are below it, it drops. I mean, it's simple, easy for you to use. It's called the 103 simple moving average. Write that down. What would you use it for? No, we don't trade dollars. We trade euro, right? Lots of people, lots of future traders trade the euro. If you see the dollar get above that line, the euro will go under it. If you see the dollar get below the line, the euro will go up. You can use this to time your euro. Don't let the rising dollars scare you. You know why? Because while dollars are rising and the stock market's rising, traders all over the world, if they're not in the U.S., have to purchase U.S. dollars to buy U.S. stocks. It makes sense that the dollars rally with the stock market. So don't let that scare you. Use the 103 bar moving average. That's what Wall Street is using right now to time dollar movement. What else is out there? Let's go to another chart. I think right here I left the chart up for you, and that would be Crude. Watch this one. Now this, I've shown many of you these tricks over the last few weeks so that you can use them. You want to see a really simple trick technique Wall Street uses on crude oil and crude oil pricing. It's the 200 bar moving average. It's the simplest thing to use. Look at the action around the 200. If you get above it, Wall Street plows in. If you get below it, they sell. You can't get above it, they sell. You can't get above it, they sell. You get above it, it gets a little frenzy, but it gets below. just had a signal on Thursday. Got above Friday, it went higher. Simple stuff that you can use next week. Wait till you see the market daily bar drop. So we're near the 200 bar moving average on crude, then sit and wait for your signal. Let the market tell you where it's going. Never try to tell the market where it's going. It will always tell you. So that's a simple technique. What else did I find? Crypto traders, you might like this one. Let's see if I can show you something cool. Bitcoin, check this out. Now, Bitcoin's got a very simple to use moving average that Wall Street has adopted. They seem to love it. It's called the 21 bar moving average. Why they like it, I don't know, but I spent all last week telling my traders, get ready for the signal, it's coming, get ready, it's coming. Put out a YouTube video on Tuesday night to say the signal is in. Look at Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. The signal worked. Wall Street has adopted or adapted the 21 bar moving average to Bitcoin, and if that's going to work, that's what you use. When it comes back to it, gauge what's going to happen next. If it gets under, down you go. If it gets back to it and holds, it settles above the rally. Simple. But I've also mentioned that it's all about market geometry. So these I call them algorithms. You could call them averages, but they're algorithms. Believe me, that's what they are on Wall Street. This 21 bar simple algorithm is one use. But when I tell you that it's all about market geometry, what Wall Street does is they're watching every low, every high, everything in between, and they're using it to calculate, and that's how they create what they want to call algorithms. But it's all based on market geometry. Watch. I'm going to show you something simple. You can use stuff like this every day. I have a trend line that goes from one high to the next. That's how simple 101 analysis. If you're going to draw a trend line, you draw it from the high of one bar to the high of another. So I've got a trend line right here. I'm going to darken it in so that you can see it. Make sure it's nice and thick. Change the style a little bit so it's one line, and apply. So now you see that trend line, it only goes from one high to the next, right? Here's the simplicity behind Wall Street. I kid you not, this stuff is simple. You just got to know how to look for it. Watch this. I am simply going to extend and look what happens here. How does Wall Street know? How do they know? Because it's all in the geometry. Look at how it got a little bit crazy right here. It hit, went through it a little, and it used it again here, it used it here. All I did was go from one spot to another. Move it forward. Wall Street has this all programmed in. They're waiting for the market to get back to that geometry spot or that angle. And when it gets there, they are going to react. I could show you this 1,000 times, you'll see. So the tip on this one, use the 21 bar simple moving average law algorithm for Bitcoin, and realize that Wall Street is watching the geometry. I promise you that is what they do. And it's not difficult. You can see that with your eyes, right? No calculator. You didn't even need a calculator to figure out where to buy Bitcoin next. You just needed to have your trend line out there. You'd know that support was going to show up because trend lines tend to work over and over again. What else is out there? Let's see if I could show you something else. Oh yeah, there's another chart I ran into. Now I did all of this on Friday night. What I did was Friday night, looked at a bunch of charts, found cool stuff. Saturday morning today, spent a few hours going over these charts to show them to you. Went inside, played my drums for 2 hours, and thought I'd come out and present to you. So I'm all psyched and ready to go. Now check out this next chart. So we are at the NASDAQ. Now we're going to look at the NASDAQ. And there's an adaptation. Wall Street on this is an interesting thing. They are changing the average, if you ask me, that they're using. And I want to show you what's happened. So let me pull this chart to focus and show you exactly what that is. All right, so let's go like this and just make the chart full, and then we'll come out and show everything to you. All right, so again, because I have no PowerPoint, this is me doing live analysis before your eyes. So deal with it, okay, kids? I'm going to move stuff around. So check this out. The 22 bar moving average has been used by Wall Street to climb NASDAQ for months on end. I mean, they're all over it. If it hits it, they buy. If it gets under, they sell. They have been all over this average. It is simple. You can see it. It's right before your eyes. But things have shifted. So I wanted to tell you that they have shifted. In fact, I showed you this in my last live webinar. But Wall Street has adapted something else. Check this out. They decided to go with the new average, and I want to show it to you so that you can use this yourself. Boom. They are now going with something smaller. And let's check what it is. They are now going with the 12 bar moving average. They switched from the 22 to the 12. I'll show you. We'll remove the 22 for a moment. Let's just, we can make it invisible so it doesn't go away. So we'll make it invisible so I have it here later. And watch, they have now adapted a new one. They're now keying off of this average right here. Simple 12 bar moving average. So we leave the 22 and we go to 12. Wall Street changes all the time. You just have to know what they're changing to. So use your 12 bar moving average to time NASDAQ. That comes back down to that line. By the way, the signal was there on Wednesday. If you look, we came right to this spot on Wednesday. And why that's happening, I don't know. Let's do that again. We came right to this spot on Wednesday, and that was it. The low was in. Came right to the average here. The low was in. Broke the average. The market dropped. So they've switched to the 12. Write that down. No more 22. Use the 12 to time the NASDAQ. Simple, right? Is there anything else on this chart? Let me see. Oh, yes. Actually, I can see it with my own eyes. Want to see geometry? Look, I can see this line. I don't even need to put it in. But I'll put it in for you. Watch this. What do you think will happen when I extend this line? Watch. I am going from one high to the next. What do you think will happen when I extend that line? And if I get that line drawn in perfectly, you will see it went right to the high here. Isn't that amazing? How does Wall Street know? Because they're following the geometry. It's simple, I promise. I am from Wall Street. They don't want me to show this to you. That's one thing I can tell you for sure. All right, but I'm in the trenches with the boys, so to speak, right? I'm in there, I got my machine gun, I'm shooting with you guys, doing my day trading. I don't care about Wall Street. I care about making my OMNI hacks, make money every day. So these are techniques I look at. I hope some of these will help you. What else is on here? Oh, okay. So stock market is going up. And there's a lot of talk about how can it go up? There's inflation, inflation, inflation. Well, you know what, kids? There is not inflation right now. This is a measure of commodity inflation. Might as well call it deflation at this point. When COVID hit and supply chains were wiped out and you couldn't get anything anywhere, this was the measure of inflation. We are now down here. Let me see if I can grab that and just pull it. We are now down here in the 96.50 area. Up here, we were, what's the height? 140.55. Now, you might not see it in the supermarket. The supermarket does not indicate it, but the measure of inflation is proving to you that, yes, they raised prices since COVID started. They haven't lowered them, but the supply chains have given them the supplies much cheaper. This actually tells you there'll be a price war on products coming to supermarkets soon enough. You can't just keep overcharging when supplies have gotten so much cheaper. But the bigger thing about this is to show you that it's not really possible for the market to go down if all the products that are being used, or all the raw materials that are being used to make products, are getting cheaper. The companies are paying less for their raw materials, but they haven't dropped their prices yet. They will. Now, imagine the stock market, how much money it's making now, because you've got companies that raised prices during COVID and haven't lowered them yet. But their supply chain's gotten better, and so has the price of their supplies. But we're still paying top dollar. You better believe the stock market's going up. It all makes sense, right? So don't worry about inflation. Is absolutely out of the picture now. They just have to go on a price war in stores, and it will happen. At some point, someone will say, we are getting supplies cheaper. Let's lower our prices so that the A&P lowers theirs, and it will just turn into a price war. We'll get there. For now, we're just looking at charts. What's next on this? What else did I find? Well, yes, check this guy out. Apple. Apple's signal is in right now. It's giving the signal, so this is perfect. Some of them gave a signal on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This one is offering a signal for next week. Now, Apple, for whatever reason, keeping it simple, Wall Street just loves this 21 bar moving average. They are in love with it. How do we know? Well, just look at the action here. I mean, oh my God, they are just all over it. If it gets near this 22 bar, Wall Street steps right in to do something about it. All right, so easy tip for you. We are right at the 22 bar moving average of 21. I'm sorry, I said 22. 21 bar moving average right now. If you can settle above that on Monday, basically your signal's in. If you settle below it for 2 days, you will drop lower. So if you are about to trade Apple next week, this should help you. 22 bar, 21 bar, moving average, simple moving average or algorithm that Wall Street is using right now. Let's see if there's something else. Oh yeah, wait till you see this one. There's another one. Any PANW fans out there? So PAO Alco, probably the best use I've ever seen of a simple moving average, a very short one on Wall Street. Look at how far back we can go. Look at how well this average works. It just works forever. I mean, it started really working well at the first blue arrow, so of course I'm going to point it out from there forward. But look at the action. Have you ever seen anything so simple? How do you not know what to do when you get to that average? And guess what, kids? On Tuesday night to Wednesday, we got the signal. If you were with me this week, you would have seen that signal. Simple, easy to use. Why? Because Wall Street's going to crowd into that spot. That's where you want to go. You don't want to outsmart Wall Street. And you know what else you don't want to do? You don't want to bring a complicated system into an already complicated business called trading. You bring a complicated system into a complicated business, you're creating more complication. I have learned from all the pros, and I have been with all the pros that you can imagine. They have taught me that simple is the way to future price action. And believe me, it is. I'm proving that to you right now. So if you are trading Palo Alto, PANW, just grab the 9-bar moving average, slap it on your daily chart, and when you get to it, you've got a signal. Take that to the bank. It's been working for several years. Beautiful trade, beautiful usage of that. Go Wall Street. Now, again, I only want to know what Wall Street's using and then use it too. I do not want to create something, a box that's me in a corner trying to figure out what's going on and no one else is using it. You know why analysis works? It's called a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you've got enough analysts using proper analysis in the same direction, we're all going to come up with relatively the same work. We're going to hand that work out to all the traders listening to us, and they will react to it. So you've got to be using the most common stuff that Wall Street uses to not get yourself knocked out of the game. What else is out there? Let's see. I got to flip pages. I got so much stuff for you guys. Next page. Oh, we're going to start to go out to weeklies now. Let's go look at a weekly chart. NASDAQ on a weekly. So you are looking at a market that couldn't possibly be bearish, right? You see anything in this market that looks bearish, broke out of a big bull flag, taking off, got above what was previous highs, right? All-time highs, you're above that. Nothing in this chart is bearish at all whatsoever, right? So the NASDAQ chart can tell you a lot of great things. In fact, I used a NASDAQ chart for the last 2 years in many webinars, many seminars, and in my live trading room to show people where this market would go. In fact, let me show you that. I think that is on, let's see where I'm at. QST20, check this out. This is a weekly NASDAQ chart. We have called this chart Masterpiece because it has made more great calls than any other chart I've ever used. And let me show you what that means. If you like what you're seeing, kids, you need to come subscribe to my trading room. I think you're going to like what you see. I'll show you some stuff at the end where you can find me. No credit cards will be required. Just jump in the trading room and hang with me. But here's what I want to show you. This is a weekly chart of the NASDAQ, which means every one of these bars is a full week's worth of trading. The market was, well, every time the market's going to crash, you'll find me doing something like this, like I did in 2008, 2009. You'll name it. We're going to go all the way back to 2008. In 2008 was about the only time the weekly NASDAQ was able to get under the 200-bar moving average. That is it. It does not get under. It does not get under. That's that. That's the rule. I don't know why. It just doesn't. Breaks for 2008. The crash comes back out to 2009. What happens after we hit the average? It has an extended rally, runs up again, hits the average, extended rally, comes back down near the average, doesn't even get to it yet. And look at the extended rally that takes place next. Insanity, right? Watch, this will just continue on. Gets near it again, extended rally. Gets near it again, extended rally. Finally gets back to it. You know when? COVID. Right here. And guess what I did during COVID? Ask anybody who follows me. told them the bottom was in. Now we can get long. Ask anybody. It's in videos. I've got 2,405 videos out there. They're all labeled. You will find me calling this absolute as it happened. The bottom is in. Look what happens from there. Up, 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 up. What do? Check this out. Comes back down to the average. Gets through it a few times, and then boom, we hit 2023, and it just goes into my year-end call, just like it was supposed to. Now, speaking of future, if you take a look at this rally after hitting the 200 ball moving average, you rallied for a year and a half. This rally has only gone for a short amount of time so far. It's got a long way to go if it's going to do what this one did after hitting the 200. And it's on its way. You can see the two lines around it. It is on its way. It's baby food of a rally compared to the one on the left. So it will go. Now, nothing goes straight up. You're going to get your pullbacks, but this is destined to go much higher. So that's another chart I wanted to show you, the 200 ball moving average on the weekly NASDAQ. There is nothing better in technical analysis than that since 2009. Is there anything else? Oh, yeah, there's some other good stuff. I'm looking at my list. Let's go here. And let's go here. Different program. Let's look at this chart. Back to a weekly. Now, Wall Street has its way of jumping from average to average. One of the things I want to make sure you guys are well aware of. So Wall Street will jump from average to average. They jump all around the place. We used to use the 200 ball moving average because that's what was working. Then they morphed to the 170. That was working perfect. Well, rallied even more, and they went to the 50 ball moving average. If I remove some of these, you'll see how well they work. The 50 ball moving average became the darling. Well, I'm here to tell you they've gotten a lot shorter term than that. Now they're using the 8 bar moving average to time the Dow on a weekly. It's there, it's working. Go with that signal. So we went from the 200 to the 170. Currently now, neither of those are working. And the one that is the 8 bar. And that's the one that you will be using. Well, we're not done with these weekly charts because there's more great stuff to show you. Let's see what else was there. A8. I think I have a chart called A8. I do. Check this one out. Oh, this is a very interesting chart. Okay. This, for some reason, the transportation average is in love with building flags. Flag, 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 flag. They work really well, but flags also work in conjunction with other things, right? So I don't know how many people like using flags or even know how. You can spot one right here. I mean, there's a bear flag sitting right there. Many people won't know how to find that, but that is what it is. You ask for a parallel trend line, and boom, you've got a flag right there. You see it, right? And the market did what it was supposed to do after creating a bear flag. It dropped. All right, so this loves to create flags, but it also likes geometry, and it likes averages, and I'm going to show you what those are. So check this out. Let's go with the flags, right? You can see when you get to the bottom of the flag and it breaks, they get short, gets to the top of a bull flag and it gets out, they get long. So they are using these flags for signals, but not just them. Watch this. Remember market geometry? Well, I only have a trend line from this low to that low. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I do know that if I extend my trend line, it's going to tell me where the bottom comes in. Not only did that work, check this out. This is how analysis comes together. I am now going to show you that there was also a fantastic moving average coming in at the same spot. Let me make that thicker for you. So check this out. You tell me Wall Street's not paying attention. You had the 55 bar moving average come right in with a trend line and the bottom of a bull flag. Very simple, very easy to spot. Wall Street is all over it. But let's get rid of the voodoo-ness of the flags, right? Let's just get rid of those. So if I could delete trend line, cut, let's get rid of the voodoo there. Who needs that? Let's just cut that out of the way. Let's say flags don't even exist. I'm with you on that. They don't exist. Well, then all you would have had to do was have the proper trend line and the proper average, and you would have known that you were buying it there anyway. Analysis works together in conjunction with one another. The flags work with the averages, the trend lines or the geometry works with everything else. That's how Wall Street does it. I know that they're using algorithms. They calculate all of this, so it's all tabulated, right? But it's the same thing, I promise. This is what they come up with. I could see it visually. You could see it visually. Very simple. Now look at how well this average worked. Look, bingo, bingo. You knew they were going to buy it when it got there. You just have to know what to look for. It worked here. It worked here on the flag. It worked every time Wall Street went here. Or I should say Wall Street reacted every time the market went here. So these are very simple timing techniques that you can use, but the market, the geometry is the power of technical analysis. They are looking at geometry. I'll prove it to you. You'll see. You'll be convinced before we're done. Let's go to another chart. Let's see if I can find something else out there that will prove to you that geometry is the main ticket. So we are looking at, oh, watch this. Oh my God, this one's going to kill you. This is my favorite chart that I found this morning, actually. I found this. Do you want to see how well geometry works? Remember, this is my technical analysis 101. This is my kindergarten stuff. I would never show you the OMNI here. I would never show that to you. The OMNI shows us how to get exactly in and out of the markets for day trading. That I teach to 4 to 6 people only 4 times a year here in my home office called OMNI Camp. I open up the doors for OMNI Camp. I would never teach a room full of people, but I'll teach 3 to 6 of you 4 times a year. And it's much more complicated but simple than this. But let me just show you the power of technical analysis. You're looking at NIO. NIO is a competitor to Tesla. It's doing really, really well in China selling vehicles. And even in China, I promise you that this chart will show you it is a true testament to the power of the geometry in technical analysis. Let's start with a simple trend line, this one. I've gone from this high to that high. I will extend. How on earth did they know to sell it right there? I mean, how is that even possible? How do they know? Wait, now I've got, well, let's unextend that for a moment. I've got another trend line. It goes from here to here. I'm going to extend that. It goes right to the high. How on earth would they know that? Simple. They're using geometry. Simple. Look, watch this one. Now, they had 2 trend lines coming in together. You better believe they were selling that spot. Very easy to find. You don't need a computer. Maybe a computer. You don't need a calculator for this. In fact, you could do this on paper. You could literally write these charts up on paper if you had to. So if we lost the internet, I could still do this on paper. Simple. Check this one out. I'm gonna, boom, it goes right to the low here. How do they know this stuff? Watch this. It goes right to the next low. This is months away, months away. This is October. It hit it in February. Watch this one. It went right to the low. From this low to that low, it went to, let me understand, it went to this low. How did they know, kids? Because I promise you it's all about geometry. I think I just showed that to you here. Do you not believe that they're using simple geometry? And when the trend lines come together, it's bingo. I mean, that's their spot. You know they're going in when the trend lines come together. Like here, they'll probably take it up to the blue line. And if not, you'll have support down here when you get to the red or the orange line. That is what they're using. Very simple, but that is what's going on Wall Street. Remember, I am from Wall Street. I know it's not supposed to look this simple, but I promise you it is. What's next? Oh my God, I have another one that's just going to make you go crazy. Look at this. Oh yeah, I remember this. All right, geometry. I just taught you a bunch about geometry, right? Showed you how it really does work. If you draw from one high to the next high and extend out, you will get where the market is going to next, most often. So with that in mind, where is Chipotle going? CMG. It's a $2,600 stock at the moment. Well, let me show you what's going. What's this? I'm just going to extend and look. And what this tells us is that it is going over 3,000. That's what this tells us. It will go over 3,000. Simple, easy. You can do this, right? I hope these techniques will help you next week. Now, I've shown you the geometry in stocks, in some futures, or I should say some index markets, but it will work in anything. What else do we have? Look, I'll show you another. It'll work in anything. If we go here, okay, so let's go to this page 7. And Market geometry works in all sectors. Wall Street is watching people. I promise this is what they're watching. How do we know? I am going from this low down here to this low right here. I extend, and how is it that they know that once you're under that trend line, the down starts? See, it's an uptrend, an uptrend, an uptrend, an uptrend. Then the down starts right under that trend line. Okay. I go from this low to this low. That's it. These two lows. None of this has happened yet. We're going to hold. And then I extend out. Guess what happens when the market drops? How do they know? Is that not incredible? So I wanted to make sure that I did a quick presentation to show you the simplicity that you can use out there. But I promise you, I am so good at technical analysis. You have never seen anyone that can work charts. I can show you things on charts that would make your hair stand simple as can be. Now, if you want to hang out with me, here's what it would take. You come to a spot called livewithoscar.com. And if you do not have a membership, just click register. All right, so let's just start this fresh. You go to livewithoscar.com without the register link. Let's just get rid of the link for a moment. You either log in or you register. It will ask you for nothing. It'll send you an email, no credit cards or anything. It'll send you an email. I promise it's going to spam. Go to your email, get that number, come to Live with Oscar, and then join me in my free live trading room. This will be lined up with tons of people on Monday, as they always are. I'm waving to you in this trading room right now. It's live. You can come here and converse with me about any of this. Again, I haven't shown you my OMNI, and I don't plan on showing you the OMNI. You have to come to my, you have to come to my home office, sit with me for 5 days in person. That's another story. I am offering you simple techniques. Now, if you'd like to set up an appointment with me, go to OMNIBootCamp.com and fill out an application, which will allow you to check a time and have a phone conversation with me. So that's what OMNI Bootcamp will do. No credit cards required. Live with Oscar will get you to see me in my live trading room. And that's it, kids. I got nothing to sell you. I don't want to sell you anything. I just want to help educate you and make sure that you can make proper trades like a Wall Street pro. I hope that helps. That's my presentation to you. I'm not answering any questions. I gave you enough goods. Take that, use it, and come join me in my live trading room if you want more. Thank you very much. With that, I concede my time back to you.
Oscar, you are the man. Thank you. That was great information. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here on Trader's Corner. According to the charts, not the word on the street, that was Mr. Oscar Carboni. You can find him daily in his chat room or nightly in his YouTube videos, which are extremely fun to watch, or his live streaming on his YouTube channel. If you can't tell, he's as entertaining as Bubba, and you can keep up with him on Twitter, StockTwits, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Discord.
You may not want to watch these videos, people. They look like this. It might scare you away.
Who let the Oscar in?
But they're full of great information up there.
Oscar, I gotta say, I love your videos. I love you. You're a huge fan. I know we talk a little offline. You know, great information. Our sense of humor is just mesh. I don't know how you do it, but your analysis is spot on. And I remember you showing the pullback to the moving average. It was around your first appearance on our show. And man, did you nail the bottom. And I hope a lot of people made a lot of money on that way back up.
So the analysis nails it. I'm just the messenger boy of what the charts are telling us.